What's going on, people? Now, I know some of y'all heard this story millions of times, but this was a request, and some people would rather hear certain stories from me, so let's get into it. Now, Rich always had that hustle in him. He always wanted his own money, just like any other young bull. But he got up, and he made something happen. Now, as a youngin', he began packing bags and selling newspapers. The money was cool. It was enough to feed himself a little. But little Rich wanted to get fly. By the age 12, he began selling tree. Now, when he ran out and couldn't get more, at one point, he began selling fake hash. A true hustler had what it takes to get to the next level. He started to touch a little bit of white. When that happened, that's when the motion started. Now, getting to that game, everyone stamped their own product. He stamped his bags with the words much better. He was telling the streets his work was much better. The money was coming in, the money was cool, but when he got with his big homie LA, he started to get busy. He grind all the way to get his first car. Now, everyone remember their first grind to get their first car. I know I do. What separates Rich Porter from most is that his first car was a BMW at the age of 16. When he accomplished that first goal, it was all over. He started to set trends. Rich, LA, Doo-Wop, and some others would be flying down the street in European joints. Young teenagers driving better cars than people's parents. Seeing them young dudes made you want to get up and get some money. If you was around them, they didn't make you want to get some money, something was wrong. He started pitting dudes on. He used to have older dudes working for him. They was getting it popping. It got to a point he was bringing in somewhere around $50K a month. It was rumored that he never wore the same thing twice. He had so many cars they had to buy a parking garage just to place the cars. It was nothing for him to hand his homies the keys and say go. A lot of young hustlers getting so much money, they can drive anything they want. Being on 7th Avenue was like a car show. Now, Rich Porter in LA would play one-on-one for stacks of cash. Rich would kill him in dice games for 40 grand. Everyone was getting it. And if you wasn't, it was easy to pick up a shift. Now, you had some guys that was coming home from jail hating, and things did get dark. LA and Rich was handling business with the gunplay. They had to. Rich and LA side by side letting people have it. A kid under the name of Sean Moe was hustling under Rich until he got hooked on his own supply, and he started to swap the work out with soap. On top of being behind LA mom's crib being broken into, so he had to go. So Rich allegedly got with Preacher to take care of it. Now, Rich was also known to use Preacher crew to get his street competitors out the way. It got to a point where most robbers were out the way, meaning dead or in jail. So things calmed down until LA got hit outside the rooftop. That was a big loss for Harlem when he passed away. Rich had to move different, so all the partying had to stop. He just got his money and began to be indoors by 8 or 9 o'clock. He didn't drink like that, and he didn't get high at all. He got his money and went back to his crib located in Jersey. Now, shortly after, it was an attempt on Rich's life, as shots was fired as he drove his Jeep. He tried to get away, but the shots brought law enforcement, and he was chased down. He was caught with a bulletproof vest and a gun. So he was down for some months. I think he was down for a year for the gun case. When he was down, AZ was out in the street doing his thing. AZ received a phone call from Rich, telling him about a kid named Alpo, and to make sure that he look out for him. Now, AZ was cool with that because he wanted everyone to eat. Now, before he was released, he knew he was going to come back to his throne, and that next run was going to be very personal. When he was released, he wasted no time. AZ was doing his thing. AZ gave him some cash for a car and a brick, and he moved his operation to 131st Street. He got back on his grind, and he showed Harlem how it was done. Richard Fritz Simmons was blessing them with a heavy supply. Rich started to expand out of New York. He began to supply Baltimore and Virginia. You started to see Rich and Alpo together a little bit more. They bought matching Porsches together. They would host bus rides for the community and light up Harlem on the 4th of July. Rich Porter will show you what to do and how to do it. You see him here with the gold Prezi with the matching bracelet and the gold ring to top it off. Rich was at the height of his run. With money like that, leeches are all around. His Uncle Apple was an addict that was always begging Rich for money. Even after Rich put him in position to make some money, Apple always screwed it up. Rich would even tell his workers to never give Apple a thing. Now the uncle and Malik from the preacher crew kidnapped Donnell Porter for ransom. The crew wanted $500K, and then they lowered it to $300K. Now, a lot of people might not understand, or they act like they don't understand, that Rich Porter was a kid himself. He was blowing his money living a fast life. Think about it. They wasn't asking for no 20 or 40 grand. He probably had that in his stash. But 300,000 to 500,000, you know how much that was in the 80s? He might have had the money tied up in the street somewhere. He might have went broke. We all know in the game you could be up today and down tomorrow fast. Richard Fitzsimmons fronted Rich 30 birds, but you still have to get rid of that in a certain amount of time. I mean, how long were they going to keep the kid in there? So he was in a sort of impossible situation. Just imagine having your back against the wall, having to come up with 300 grand to get a family member back. Still having to hustle around thieves, stick-up kids, and cops. Richard and the Porter family didn't deserve that at all. Now, in that situation, he had to smile to keep from crying. A lot of people talk about, him being seen joking around during the time. Many people handle situations different. Many people question what he did with his money. But at the end of the day, that was his money. Now, during the time Rich Porter's body was found. Now, we all know to this very day it was Alpo. Poe saw the opportunity to take those 30 bricks without having to pay anyone. Free bricks, that's what he saw. Now, Alpo said that Rich lied to him about some work, but at the end of the day, that was dirty. Rich Porter was the family's only hope to save the little brother, and you take the man out at his lowest. And there might have been some envy the whole time. I mean, Alpo wanted that spot. They might have been cool, but they didn't know each other like that. They didn't even know each other for 5 years. So did Alpo really owe Rich loyalty? Well, in my opinion, yes. If it wasn't for Rich, Alpo wouldn't have blew up the way he did. Alpo been hustling before he met Rich and AZ. But they gave him the opportunity to take it to a next level. Now, they found the little brother days after finding Rich. A sad situation for the family. But that's just my version of the story. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a like, hit me up in the comments, subscribe if you're new. It's going to be a cold winter, so I got y'all with some work. And oh yeah, I got some content on Spotify that's like 30 minutes. So you can listen to it while driving or anywhere or doing anything. But I'm going to pin the link in the comments, so y'all be safe out there. I'm out.